Hi, my name is Ron and I'm a developer advocate here at SellerData. If you're new to the StarRocks community, welcome. Today I'll be showing you how to quickly deploy StarRocks locally on your computer with Docker and run your first StarRocks query. By the end of this video, you'll have StarRocks running on a single Docker container with queryable sample tables that have loaded real-world data from New York City traffic and weather datasets. The goal of this video is to get you up running as quickly as possible. So the demo is focused on a local deployment, so it has nothing to do with any production or cloud setup. If you'd like to follow along with the official documentation, feel free to do so. Otherwise, let's jump in. As prerequisites, ensure that you have Docker installed with at least 4 gigs of RAM and 10 gigs of free disk space assigned, in addition to curl, which is going to be used to download the actual datasets. Feel free to use any SQL client that you're comfortable with or one that's included in the Docker image itself. Let's jump in and execute our Docker run command. So this is going to pull in the all-in-one Ubuntu image if we don't currently have it from Docker Hub. We'll call it quickstart and then map each node to its respective port. So notice port 9030, which is the SQL query port we'll be connecting to from the CLI, the front-end web interface port, and the back-end web interface port, which we can access from a web browser to view node settings or statistics. Running this, we'll start pulling in our image. Shouldn't take longer than a couple minutes. All right, given now that we've executed Docker run, it's probably a good idea to run Docker PS to check whether it's up. Looks like it's up and started 13 seconds ago. Now let's curl the traffic and weather datasets into our working directory. We're going to be pushing these CSVs into our tables shortly on StarRocks. We have our datasets in CSV form and StarRocks running on Docker. Let's connect to it with a docker exec command. Notice I'm connecting to port 9030, that handy SQL query port, signing in as root, the default username, and now, given that we have those credentials, we can start creating some tables. Fittingly, we can create our database, quickstart, and use it. I'm going to go ahead and copy the 2 schemas listed in the documentation for crash data and weather data. Awesome, we have our table set up. Now all that's left to do is to insert our data with curl in StarRocks Streamload. But I want to take a second here and have you guys notice some of the parameters in this command. The file name, the custom label we can set for our data set if we upload any future data sets, the column separator, which for us is kind of naturally a comma, the skip header, which would indicate whether our column names take up 1 or 2 rows. In our case, it's 1. An enclose setting so that we can enclose strings that contain any embedded commas with double quotes, and a max filter ratio as well at the end, which gives us a little more flexibility in our dataset error tolerance. So we'll set it to 1 for now, which allows all of our rows to fail during debugging, just for debugging purposes. And then, of course, we have the key which specifies all the columns. I'll hit enter. It'll ask us for the password, and we can just hit enter again as we didn't set anything up. And this is a fresh install, although we certainly could set up a password. Success. We're looking for that status key as success and the message is OK. So given that those 2 things returned as true, we seem to be good with our data insertion here. If this isn't the case, try copy pasting the command again to see if you missed anything or your table schema matches. You may have missed something on the copying itself. Same thing for the weather data set. Now that we have both data sets loaded in our table, let's go for the final step and confirm we can query and garner some insights. I'll use the same exec command again and jump in. Use our database quickstart. Let's run a query on the crash data table. I want a count by the hour for the number of crashes in New York, spanning January 1st, 2014 to January 9th. I can do this by running a SQL command that we're all familiar with and utilize the date truncation method that's available in StarRocks built in to filter by the hour. So once we query, we can immediately see some insight from this data. The 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. time range on January 1st has around 16, 13, and 6 crashes respectively. But say we jump to a weekday like January 6th, which was a Monday morning. We see 43 crashes, or on Tuesday morning, 41 crashes. Does this make sense? Well, yeah, most people are off on January 1st, so there's naturally less cars moving on the road, right? Compare that to a Monday or Tuesday evening the following week where people are actually going to work, getting their bagels, delivering newspapers, trucks are on the road, we see almost 3 times more crashes on those days, right? So that makes sense. Now I want to test whether our weather data set just works and all the data we loaded in is there. So just to make sure it works, I'm going to fetch it by selecting on the average hourly temperature, once again truncated by the hour, and we'll group by time in order ascending just to look at some weather. Looks like our data came through, and New York was pretty cold that first week of January. Definitely not as cold now in 2025 in January. And that's it. In just a few minutes, you deployed StarRocks, created a table, loaded some real-world sample data, and ran your first query. For larger data sets and more advanced examples, head over to the StarRocks docs. And if you have any lingering questions or would like to join our rapidly growing community, head on over to the Slack. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.